Yeah.
Hi everybody. I'm going to be talking today to Melanie Perry. Um, if you've done my trainer training in the last few years, you'll know her because she's come along and filmed everybody, filmed all the trainers. It's being on camera is a tough one. I mean, I said to somebody the other day, I'm sitting there looking at my face all day, going, oh God, look at that bit there, and the lighting's not right. Da, da, da. And I've had a few people I'm coaching at the moment who said, "Oh, I'm not doing that. Yeah, I don't want to be seen." So I thought it's a really good time to talk to Mel. She's actually, apart from coming out and filming people like us, she's won awards. Mel, you welcome. You've won an award for filming.
2021, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, my first short film has done really, really well on the international film circuit. We are absolutely delighted with it. It was a comedy film that we did in lockdown, and just tremendous fun, good community, feel good film, and yeah, really proud of it. Really, really proud of it.
wow. So that's amazing, isn't it? Because you set yourself up. One day you said, I'm going to set myself up and go out and do this. So, you're self-made.
Yeah.
You're self-made. You've set it all up. I always think that's really inspiring because, we're all kind of sitting at home trying to do stuff. And, people think they've got a big fancy studio and all these people and all this equipment and you do need a little bit of kit, but it's nice to know you've actually won all those awards and you set yourself up. You haven't got a dad who's a film director or whatever.
No, the whole thing cost me 200 quid to do. That was my insurance for the day. Everyone else was volunteers. So I roped in
Wow.
some friends and some people that I didn't know, and they all gave me their time, which was amazing. And
Wow.
yeah, for an absolute micro budget film, it's done phenomenally well. And I think that's the thing, is just you've got to have a go. And unfortunately, I hear the same as you, Anne, a lot of the time, that
Yeah.
people, I don't know what's going on with my camera. Do I look fuzzy to you? My camera's got all a bit fuzzy. That's better. So people say, I don't want to be on camera. I hate being on camera.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. And a lot of that is preparation, really. My biggest thing that I say to people is you've got to prepare, you've got to plan for what it is you want to do. And unfortunately, we are living in a social digital media age.
Mm.
If you want your business to thrive, no matter what industry you are in, you're going to have to put your face in front of the camera at some point, because social selling is where it's at nowadays, and people want to see the face behind the business. They want to not just know about what you do, they want to know about you personally. They want to feel connected to you. And I think since COVID, people connection has got really, really important. And you can't do that if you're hiding behind an avatar. You can't do that if you're hiding behind just business stuff. It will get you so far. But these days, people want to know that the essence of the person behind the business, especially if you're in a business like you are in, with your trainees who are delivering a spiritual service. People have to know that they can connect with you on a level. They're not going to do that unless they can see you, and video is the fastest way people will connect with you on a bigger scale. Facebook, we grow our audiences. So for me, prepare a space is the first thing. Have a space, a dedicated space where you are going to maybe talk to camera. Ideally, you want to do it with a window facing you so that the light is full on your face, like I've got. I mean, you said to me earlier, you're beautifully lit. I'm not lit with lights, I'm lit with a window. So if you can have a desk or a laptop or a phone on a tripod, even with the light facing you, so much the better, because people want to see your face. Having a microphone is a good idea. You can buy fairly decent, fairly cheap microphones on Amazon. You can get even clip-on lavalier mics for that plug into an iPhone or an Android phone, and that's good for reducing echo around the room. So I would recommend it. Especially if you're in a room that hasn't got a lot of clutter. I mean, I've got a virtual background here. My room's stuffed full of stuff, so I don't have too much sound bouncing off the walls, but sound bounces. So you want to reduce that as much as possible. And if you can't, definitely get a mic. If you get a microphone that plugs into your laptop, again, you can pick up some decent ones for under £100 on Amazon. And then as you get more confident and your business grows and you've maybe got a bit more money to spend, you can upgrade to the better mic. I mean, good quality microphone is key, but if you don't have one, build up to it. You don't need all this stuff right off the cuff, but to have a few of the basics will definitely help. And it will make you feel a bit more professional and a bit more confident if you got your mic on, you're looking at the camera. The second thing is that people feel that they waffle a bit, or they don't feel comfortable talking in front of a camera. A camera is plastic and glass and metal. It can't hurt you. It's not going to kill you. If you muck up your lines, it's not going to fire you. It's an inanimate object. You don't need to be frightened of it. If you prepare your piece, so if you're planning a series of things that you want to talk about, just plan them out. Cut it down to 3-minute snippets. What do you want to talk about over the week? Make it short, make it concise, but practice. Record yourself on Zoom, record yourself on the phone, have a timer going. Can I say everything I need to say in 3 minutes? If not, what unnecessary words can I lose to make it 3 minutes? And the more you practice, the better you come. It's like everything else. The first time you're going to be really scared and nervous, and you'll look back at it and probably think, oh God, that's rubbish. But nobody will think it's as rubbish as you do. We're our own worst critic.
We so are, aren't we? We do sit there and people aren't looking at us going, oh, look at her hair or wrinkles or whatever, that we're worrying about. People want to hear what you got to say. I remember a while back, a friend of mine, she brought in she's done very well for herself, and she brought in a big team, and there's always music in the background. She shot a lot of videos, and I actually couldn't watch them because the music, I don't like it when the music's loud. I find a lot of people have the music and I literally couldn't wear them, and it was repetitive, dun, 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 in the background. It just drove me mad, so I didn't watch them. But Paul Dudridge, who you might have come across, I've interviewed him before, is really good at helping people find their essence and find who they truly are. And he actually said to the girl, you're too polished. You're too polished. And it's almost like we want to see people be a bit human.
We do.
You've got to relate to people, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely, we've got to relate to people. So people, a few years back, yes, you might have had to have that polished persona to go out, but now you don't. Since COVID, things have really relaxed, and the way that people do business has really changed, and people want the raw essence of you. So talk about what you're passionate about, as long as it's concise. You don't have to be polished, but you do have to be concise. So that's where the practice comes in. I never script my people, and I never advise people to be scripted either. If you're a business owner, you should know your business well enough to be able to talk about it with passion and joy and enthusiasm. So my advice would be just make 2 or 3 bullet points per video. What are the 3 key things that you want to talk about? And then just record yourself, practice. Can I get that paragraph in a minute, and the next one in a minute, and that next one in a minute? Music, I quite like background music if it's mixed properly, but then you're starting to get a little bit more technical. If you've got the way with all, and you are a techie person and you love fiddling with things and you like researching it and you can do it yourself, then fine. But as you've said, if it's too loud, it's very distracting. But music pulls on the emotions, which is why you'll never see a TV ad without music. Never, ever, 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 ever. If you're wanting someone to buy something from you, add music. But if you're talking, it needs to be very, very low. And if I was doing it, I've obviously got kit that I can sound mix to quite a decent level. If you're trying to do it on an app on your phone, obviously you're limited, and you have to make sure that you're dropping it enough that you can still hear it, but the vocals are still coming through. So it's a bit more difficult. But it depends on what budget you've got. If you've got the budget for an editor, like someone like me who can get it professionally done, great, do that. And I would recommend it. If you're doing it yourself, maybe don't have the music, because it's rather not have it than get it wrong. And as you say, put people off.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to mention something you did right at the beginning. You went, oh, look a bit fuzzy, and you just moved your camera a bit and carried on talking. Most of us would be going, oh my God, I look, but you know, that's the difference. You just didn't bat an eyelid and just carried on. And I
Been
think
doing this
that's
for so long.
what we have to learn. We learn to do. I like what you said about the lighting, because I'm not facing the window. The window's over there, because my background's pretty shit if I look that way. So that's it's just I've got a small office and it don't so I need to rearrange it. But yeah, facing the window, because somebody said to me, if you've got a strip light, which I have because I'm in an office, it casts all these shadows. So
Yeah,
it's these little tips that create the difference. And
to be
your
honest,
back, yeah, go,
ditch the strip light. They're awful for skin tone.
yeah.
Absolutely. Get a little desk lamp. Get a little angle poised desk lamp that you can kind of maneuver and shine, and that can cast some really quite lovely shadows on your face, you know, or maybe have one each side, you know.
I've even got the big fancy, but I've got no idea where to aim it. I'm still playing
Yeah,
around
it
with
kind
it.
of needs, the key light needs to kind of be in front of you, and the backlight kind of behind, but you could have, you know, your kind of fill lights from the side, so it's kind of like front and side,
Right,
really.
okay.
And play around again. People, you know, don't be afraid to be creative, you know. Play around with it, you know. Don't just suddenly launch into doing your first live stream without putting any thought into it. A lot of people think that there's like a magic formula when it comes to video. That there isn't. It's all in the planning, and in the detail. The more you plan at the front end, the
Yeah,
less stressful it's going to be, and the less editing it's going to take at the back end. But even with editing, there's no magic wand to make it happen quickly. You know, editors still take hours to edit.
that's interesting, because that's really interesting, because I read the other day Mr. Beast, who's probably the biggest or one of the biggest on YouTube, and he analyzes every single detail, even down to the slight change of light or where he's everything. And he analyzes it, he looks at the analytics, which will tell what point in that video people bail out and stop watching. So he'll look to, I mean, it is about and we don't do that. We're so frozen on what do I look like? What about me? How do I? You know, it's like they say, everyone thinks where people are looking at us, but they're not. They want to know what's in it for them.
Yeah.
I spoke to a lady the other day, and she teaches to do you know, what colours to wear online. And I said, do you know, all the people that I've come across that teach the colour coding have been so stiff, and they all look the same. They all got the little scarf and, you know, in their chosen colour and blah, blah, blah. So I wouldn't go to them. Said, you're like a real person. I feel like you're actually talking to me and you're like a real person. I would go to her. And I think that's part of it. Just pretend you're talking to your mate, you know?
Yeah, it is. Pretend you're talking to your mate. Be comfortable about what you're talking about. Be passionate about what you're, because that will come across. And play with your environment. It's like the video that you put up the other day with the young girl having a bit of a paddy because the guy was sitting on the bench when she was trying to do her
Yeah.
You know, bless her. But you know, she came across really badly at that point, and it was just like, okay, I don't know who your viewership is, but you're actually looking a bit silly now. And the same applies to your video space. Is every videographer or filmer, you recce the scene beforehand. When we did our film, Scooch, you know, we did it in a very, very short deadline, but we recce'd every venue. We checked the light, we checked what was going on, we checked, because we filmed a lot of it outside.
Right.
What is the outside space going to be like? I mean, obviously we had the police involved, and that you know, they worked with us really well to make sure that we were okay filming where we were filming and stuff like that, and it was quite quiet. We only had I think one incident with a pedestrian who was a bit leery and had to be moved on, but other than that, you know, we were quite lucky. But if you're going to film in, you know, in your office space, you know, don't just start recording. Check it out first. Record yourself on a Zoom in your setup, and then play it back. Is the light okay? Is the sound okay? Is it a good space for me to be doing this in? If it's not, maybe you can find another one. If you're going to go out and film in a park, recce certain times of the day. Is there a chap that always sits on that bench every day that's going to possibly get in your way while you're filming? Is there you know, a school trip that comes through on a Wednesday afternoon. Be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, yeah,
If you
yeah,
want a quiet place in a park, make sure that you find a quiet place in a park and that it's consistently quiet. And you might have to do a bit of research over a week or so. But if
yeah.
you know that that little space at a certain time of day is going to be fairly quiet and you're fairly okay to record for your half an hour, whatever it is, do that. Don't get into skirmishes with the public on your video. It doesn't make you look good. It makes you look like a bit of a prat, to be honest.
Well, it's a public place. That's what I felt with the girl. Well, it's funny because it wasn't that long ago. I did some videos in Hyde Park with Sebnum from Turkey, and nobody about. Has to happen. The minute you start filming, kids start running. But you know, it's a park. I can't tell them go away. It's not my, you know. So when that girl was being stroppy, a lot of people said, "Oh, the bloke was rude and he should have moved." I went, I would have moved. It's only a tripod. Do you know what I mean? She ain't shooting 100 million movie. She could.
Yeah.
I moved. Sebnum and I moved several times
Yeah.
because it's a public. Or you work it in and go, "Hi kids, look, it's a bunch of kids." You know, work it in with it. That can be quite nice.
Luck of the draw, and it's how you handle it. But trying to get aggressive, and I saw some of the comments in that post, and I was like, actually, no, the guy's not doing anything wrong. Okay, maybe he's being a bit obstinate, but that's his right. You know, she's got actually no right to film there in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, so she was very, very wrong in the way that she handled it. She could have just said, right, you know, I say either built him in and made him a bit of a little celebrity on her thing, or just moved, you know, 10 yards to the left where there wasn't a bench, you know. So you've got to recce the situation, because you've got to understand that once your stuff is out there, it's out there. You know,
that is so
do you want to
true.
come across like a complete bloody pillock, or do you want to actually come across as a professional who knows what they're doing?
My mum used to do this. They film up at Burnham Beaches and she'd walk this route. And if ever they were filming on that route, she'll go, "I walk here every day with my..." And they'd go, "Look, could you just go?" "No, I walk here." And she'd walk across the set because the size of Burnham Beaches, she only had to walk a few, but she'd have to walk through it. They'd have to stop filming and go, "Sylvie's here."
Again, I mean, for that, it's quite frustrating, because if you are filming a big budget, like, you know,
Yeah,
murders and everything, filming, you know, every lost second is costing you money. Whereas a little girl with a tripod and an iPhone, you know, it's not
yeah.
thing, to be
I
honest.
think it's one of them things that, I mean, as I say, it was weird because that video come out and it was only a few weeks before Sebnum and I shot one, and my reaction was very different to the girls, and it really was. The minute somebody starts shouting, there was nobody for miles a minute ago. Where have you got? But you know,
And that's sod's law. It's sod's law. You could be literally up the top of Everest and nobody there, and the minute you get the camera out, the Yeti will come out or something will happen. No, seriously, it's just sod's law. And you have to, if you're filming outside in a public place, you have to factor that in. This is going to happen, so how are you going to react to it?
That's a really good point. It is a really good point. I think either move or build it in. Sometimes it's quite funny if somebody runs up and starts joining in or says so. It makes it more real. But I think it's worth watching somebody like Mr. Beast, because he analyzes it so well. But most of us are in I don't know, the dining room or a little office, or the office in the bedroom, trying to get the lighting right. So I think looking out the window is really good. I've got to try and move my office around.
You can't beat it. It's wonderful for the skin tone. So if you're lucky enough to utilize natural light, that would be my sort of top tip, is definitely do that if you can. If you can't, then again, lighting doesn't have to be a freaky thing, and you don't have to buy loads of professional kit and soft boxes and blah, blah, blah. If you can afford it, go for it. But again, if you don't know what you're doing, it's not really going to help you. You know, experiment with the low cost stuff, get comfortable of where you want to angle those lights. Then again, when you've got a bit more money, a bit more budget, you can invest in a more professional light, but then you're going to know where to put it.
That's the bit I have. I'm always aiming it somewhere different, and But yeah, just the thing I learned the other day about strip light cast shadows. Yeah, and at my age, I could do without that. And it's not, I don't own the building, so I can't, but it's like, but aiming at the window, I'm going to try that shortly.
Yeah, aim it at the window or turn off the strip light. Definitely turn off the strip light and
Okay.
get little desk lights and see, you know, if you get these bendy ones that you can, you know, and again, you know, put it up a bit, put it down a bit, things that are a bit more adjustable so that you can then say, oh, that looks really nice, or, you know, and get a bit dramatic with it. You can go for a very cinematographic look with desk lights because it will cast certain shadows. If you've got one each side, you know, you can get some quite lovely looks. But it just play, just don't be afraid to play with it. Don't be afraid to play with it. And you know, as long as people can kind of see your face, see who you are, that, as we've said, they're going to be listening to your message anyway. So as long as you've got a microphone and you're not, you know, your voice isn't bouncing off the walls and really, really echoey, because that can be really off-putting as well. You know, and preparation, planning, I can't stress that enough. Planning, it's like storyboarding it out, even if it's a talking head. It's kind of like, okay, in you know, the first 10 seconds, what am I going to be talking about? In the next 10 seconds, in the next 10 seconds. Oh, as you practice it, you'll condense down your words and you'll lose the words that aren't necessary. And it really focuses you, I mean, I did a Facebook Live challenge, oh God, years and years and years ago, but it was really good because the task was we had to talk about a certain thing each day for however long the challenge was. But we had to do it in 3 minutes. We had to do it in 3 minutes. And we had to practice, you know, you practice doing it for 3 minutes. And by the end of the challenge, I think it was over a month or 4 weeks, it was 4 weeks. By the end of it, we were all not having to time ourselves because we got it off pat. We knew what 3 minutes felt like. So you train yourself. So it might be a bit hard in the beginning, but keep with it. And then the more you do, it will come naturally. You'll know that 3 minute mark and you'll be amazed at how you can get your messages into 3 minutes.
And it's so much sharper. It's so sharp. I really notice how people, I've worked on a local newspaper when I was really young and I had no idea what I was doing. So I went up to the reference library, Slough Library, and there was a book there by Lord Northcote. I can't remember. He was the guy who founded the Times. I'll have to, Northcliffe. And he founded the Times and he gave you this book that big. I'd go up there every day. She couldn't take it home and learn how to be before I started the job because I didn't know what I was doing. And I always remember there was the key essence was cut out unnecessary words. Never use a long word when a shorter word will do. They're the two things I've kept all my life. When you read the Times, they don't have great big long words that you don't understand, but the Sun or the Daily Star might. And that's the difference. I noticed it was essence of good writing, good speaking. And Twitter taught us to be short, quick. Let's get on with it. TikTok, I hate TikTok, but you have to do it. Quick, short, keep it. And I saw my hairdresser the other day, Jimmy Shields, and he's really good. He's really good at making his videos for cars and hair and stuff. And he said, shorter, Anne, shorter. He wasn't talking about my hair, he was talking about my videos. There you go.
So Mel, to the point. Yeah,
to the point. Yeah, exactly. So Mel, what do you do for people? I mean, I've dragged you in going, help, I've got the trainers in, and you've taken over a bit of space and gone in one of the offices, set up your lights. What do you do for people?
So I mean, I can come and record. That's fine. But I also train people in how to be concise. So I give power hours and I also give brainstorming sessions of people who think, oh, I know I need to do this stuff for my business, but I really don't know where to start or what should I talk about? Or so I offer brainstorming sessions to generate a load of ideas that people can go away with and put into practice straight away. And I also offer sort of power hours and strategy sessions for incorporating video marketing into your overall marketing plan, because they're the same thing. So if you're a business, you should have a marketing plan. You should know where you're going over the course of the year. You might need some help, especially as a small business, incorporating video marketing into that. What should I be putting into that? where should I be putting it? You know, should I be on TikTok? Should I be on Facebook? Should I be on YouTube or wherever? And different industries do better on different platforms, and you don't have to be on everything all the time. My advice on that, again, would be know where your audience is, nail that one, then maybe expand out into another one. Know where you're going to get the business from first. Nail that, because you want money coming into your business. So I help people do all of that. I also give presenter training, so I can show you how to stand, go through things like lighting and so on and so forth, and critique people's videos as well. If people want me to watch something that they've produced and say, is this okay, then they can book me and I can go through it and I can give a critique and pointers of, okay, this was good, maybe you shouldn't think about this next time, so on and so forth. So the whole range of things, really. I mean, I'm a professional broadcaster. I used to have a radio show that I won an award for as well. So communication to me is really, really important. So I help small businesses communicate their message in the right, concise way and have confidence on camera. But confidence, the biggest thing to remember is confidence comes from competence. If you are competently knowing what you want to talk about, you've set up your area in advance, so you're perfectly happy with what it looks like, what it feels like, and you're comfortable. You know exactly what you're going to say, and you've practiced, and you know it takes 3 minutes. Talking into the camera once you've done all that work is going to be a piece of piss, excuse my French. The filming bit is the least of anybody's worries, really. The hard work comes right at the front end. Know your space, set up your space, play around with the lighting. What are you going to talk about? Refine it. What are you going to talk about? Refine it. What are you going to talk? Refine it. And once you're ready to go, you've done all the brain ache. So actually, it's kind of a relief to get in front of the camera and just let it go. Oh my God, that was really good. And I've done the same on shoots where people I've been filming bigger pieces and bigger sort of adverts, if you like, and putting it all together. And doing that initial storyboard process of, you know, what is the story? What are you trying to convey? And we're going to squeeze each of these into, 3-second kind of segments almost. That's the hard part. And then once we're filming it, people say, oh my God, that was really fun. Oh, I didn't expect to feel like this. I said, well, it's fun because you've done the hard work. So you know exactly what you're doing, you know exactly what you're saying, you know exactly where you're doing it. And then my part comes, another thing that I do is edit, obviously, for people. So if people want me to edit their videos together or stitch them together to put animations on for TikTok or whatever, or brand up their Zoom meetings or whatever, like I do for my On the Couch sessions, all of that kind of stuff. So there's a whole wealth of things that you can do. But my biggest thing would be just don't be afraid to play with stuff.
Yeah.
And if you get it
absolutely
wrong, do you know what? If you say something on video that you get it wrong, no one will probably even notice if they're not in your industry, and even so, people will forgive you. It's not like, oh, she made a mistake, let's just blacklist her. People, it's raw, it's authentic. People won't mind.
I love this. I didn't realize you did so much coaching on so many different areas. I'm definitely going to come to you for some coaching. I'm definitely, I can see areas where I think I could improve a lot, and you'd see what I don't see. I've met a couple of people that go, oh, somebody said that just wasn't, and I go, I'm never precious about this stuff, because it's the only way to get good is if somebody says that bit wasn't quite right, you could have made that more precise. That is when somebody tells you, you sharpen up. And if every video you get a tiny bit better, imagine how you'd be in 6 months' time. You'd be absolutely rocking.
And you will. The more you do, the better you get. And you have to, I think, with social media as well, another key thing to remember is you need to grow a little bit of a thicker skin, because there's always some little madam or mister out there who thinks they can do it better than you. They won't do it. They've never done it, and they never will do it.
No.
But it doesn't stop them having an opinion with a capital O of all the things you're doing better. And you don't want to fall into, the sort. You don't want to fall into that trap. Video and creative practice is very subjective. As long as you are coming across the best way that you can, and you're practiced, done the work, and you're prepared. If some little troll comes up and says, that wasn't very good, jog on. You're not my
Yeah.
audience. Go away. I'm not interested in your opinion. You know,
You don't
thank you.
get as many as you'd expect. I'm surprised. I always expect more. Last time I had people getting upset, people going, "Oh, there's nothing in the shops. The cupboards are bare." And I went, "Look, I've just made a little bit of footage around Waitrose, and it's laden. I mean, it's absolutely laden with everything." Oh my god! On Twitter, people got very upset. One of them said, "You lie." I went, "Why would I lie to some funny little man on Twitter? I'm full of everything you could possibly want. If I want caviar, if I want tomatoes, it's all there." I'm literally just saying we're okay with food. That was the last one, but I literally, I don't find you get as many as you expect, and I'm very quick. I just block them up. I aren't going to waste energy on them.
Exactly. Block, move on. Block.
Yeah,
move
yeah,
on.
yeah, absolutely.
It's can be quite hard because when you're doing a talking head,
Yeah,
it's you and you're raw and it's quite personal. And if somebody does troll you, it does feel like a personal attack.
yeah, yeah.
It does. But what you've got to remember is that the person doing it says a lot more about them than it does about you. And
They're looking at you. You're not looking at them. You're not watching. What are they doing? I mean, you're the one that's up there doing stuff. They're doing nothing. What are they doing? You know, I said to a guy, one of the guys that got upset because I had some tomatoes. I mean, he literally got really upset. And I went, "Mate, go for a walk, go and have a pint. Seriously, this isn't good for your life. Nobody cares what you think." Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you think. I looked at his line and he was all day just moaning at people. And I thought, "Oh, what a way to live." I actually feel but I see the funny side of it, which does upset them a little bit. But you don't get that many. I love what you said, though. It's been really, really good. And I definitely will come back to you for more. How do people get hold of you?
Yeah, people can get hold of me by emailing me. I mean, they'll find me on Facebook. If you look up Poppy Perry Media, you'll find my website, poppyperrymedia.com. You can email me, melanie@poppyperrymedia.com. I'm on Facebook, although I'm not as active on there as I would like. I'm probably more active on LinkedIn. If anybody's on LinkedIn, you'll see me, but you'll probably see me as this Creatives banner, which is a new venture of creative professionals network that I'm running at the moment. So yeah, so Creatives with a 38 or Melanie at Poppy Perry Media, but the best bet is probably just to email me, Melanie, MELANIE @poppyperrymedia.com, and I'll be happy to help. And I am tending to do a lot more of the coaching and the editing and the critiquing as well. I've done quite a few clients abroad who send me their stuff and say, could you look at this, because you know I've been doing this for a long time. I've got a very good eye, and I've got a good, as a broadcaster, I've got a good ear, and it's like, actually you can lose half of that, or you know. So if anybody's got anything that they want to improve, or for me to look at, then they can get in touch as well. But the best way to improve is to keep going. Keep going, and keep practicing, because the more you do it, the better you'll get. And the first step is always the hardest. To make that first step in front of the camera is always the hardest. I mean, we've all got things about ourselves that we don't like. You know, I don't particularly look the way I would love to look. I'd love to prance out looking like Raquel Welch when she was younger. Not going to happen, you know. So sometimes you've got to kind of get out of your own way, haven't you, and just say, look, you know, my business needs this. I can't afford to really put it off any longer. So, you know, I'll give Mel a call, say, what do I need to do to get me ready to be in that space?
Brilliant.
And then I could go away and do it. You know, the easiest thing in the world, or the thing that should feel the most comfortable in the world, is just flipping the switch on that camera and talking about what you love, what you're passionate about. Because that's what
I love that. I love that. I'm definitely gonna. My next move is to go and buy a couple of them little lamps. I will have them in this office within 48 hours. I absolutely guarantee that. I will definitely go and get them in it, because I'm just sitting in the dark and I'm messing about with that big light. And but I will talk to you more. I will get you to critique my stuff, and I want the presenter, the whole bit. I'm gonna definitely be. But for now, thank you so much. It's been really, really lots of valuable information. So thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, Anne. Really glad to catch up.
Thank you. We shall see you soon. You take care.
Bye.